wanted this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy. Extra. Fuck with me, you know that I got it. Come with me, let's take a trip to the islands. We up on the jet, we'll do more than just fly on it. Stand on that hill, you gon' die on it. Boom. Baby, I'm not one of them, you should try on it. Miss me with all that, I'm on it and next. Fuck this up, I send you back to your ex. But good luck with that, this is big as it gets. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. Give them a name to remember. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. A moment can live on forever. Yeah. Oh shit, they don't let me shoot a whole clip. Firepower in this coalition. We just turned the field into a demolition. It was desolate, but I had premonition. I was training for war every exhibition, every extra mission, every enemy listening. Get off my dick, I got bad intentions. Make it right every wrong, and I'm back with a vengeance. I show you the ropes. Peace in my town, I can show you the coast. Up in the shots.
1, 2, 1, 2, coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. 1, 2, 1, 2, coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit, you know Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. And shout to John, you know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up. Yeah.
Hey. Yeah. Let's see how you do under pressure. Oh. Yeah. I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy. Extra.
All right, we're at episode 375. You are watching and or listening to the PHP Ugly podcast. Hello, my friends, both local and abroad. I am your host, Eric Van Johnson, and with me, as always, is John Congdon.
I am currently laughing about things Eric has typed into Discord.
This is a weekly podcast where we focus on the PHP programming language and the PHP community, as well as John and I's company, PHP Architect. We get together every Thursday day now, 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Pacific time here in the U.S., and it's all made a little better thanks to some sponsors, honeybadger.io, PHP Architect, of course, couldn't do it without them, and our supporters on Patreon, and we're going to talk about all of them in a little while. But for now, if you want to be part of this wonderful event that we call the PHP Ugly Podcast, you can join us in our Discord channel at discord.phpugly.com. The office manager is mad at me. And be part of the show, but more importantly, hang out there with us all week long and communicate with your fellow PHP developers and some pretty smart people, I might add.
Definitely.
John, what did I miss?
So you read, we were having a private conversation about a cheese competition, and you said that you totally read it as chest. Did you mean chest?
Well, che- oh, I did mean chest. Did I say chest?
The funny
Did I have?
what I'm laughing at is you did it twice in the same sentence. I I totally read chest the first time and thought it was cool that they had a chest that they play chest also.
Oh my gosh, I totally did. Yeah, it's been one of those days for me, John. I can't even stress to you enough how like thin I am right now. I'm in my happy place though. I'm on the podcast. I'm with you. I'm with my friends. We're gonna have a good time. Yeah, it was the World Championship Cheese contest, and
Mhm.
of course, I thought it had read. Obviously, I misspelled it, but I thought it was the World Champion Chess, contest, which I thought was a weird name for a chess tournament. But what do I know? And it wasn't. It was cheese. I don't know what's more embarrassing: the fact that I thought cheese was chess, or I spelled it chest. So either way, I'm having a bad day, John. Thanks for pointing that out.
No worries. That's what I'm here for. Point things like that out. My day yesterday was bad. Um, I was on Zoom literally, I think, almost 7 hours in a row. It was just crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I just
What's
got
going
off
on?
a last minute call with one of our clients, and it's like always the struggle that we as developers have with whoever our subject is that we're trying to build for, either clients or whatever. Um, as far as like getting things scoped properly, and it's this
Mhm.
constant like education process that we go through. And I just felt the disappointment in this person's voice because I was trying to explain to them how it's very important that we document all the use cases so that everybody who's building parts. So this is a new API integration where the company we're integrating with, this is their first time they've created an API endpoint. And then, of course, we are using this non-existent endpoint yet. So they sent us over some very shoddy documentation. It was basically a Word doc with some JSON on it. It's like it was almost like, send us this. I'm like,
Well,
okay, I have so many questions right now.
but at least it sounds like they're trying to have some sort of like API contract. Like, here's what we are expecting.
Right. And this is what I'm explaining to the client. I'm like, I know this seems bad, and I know it seems like we're asking a lot of questions, but you've got to understand this is a flushing out process. They clearly don't know what to ask for. The big example I was using is they have this currency situation where they're asking for currency. I'm like, okay, what's currency on their end? Are they asking for a floating decimal point? Are they asking for pennies? And they were kind of like, why would they ask for pennies? I'm like, because they ask for currency. So it's the low common denominator here in the U.S., so it's easier to work with. But maybe they don't. Maybe they use the decimal point, the decimal point there. So it was things like that. And the one thing that like hinged on our particular client was the use cases, because it's only one endpoint. And I'm like, okay, so is this one endpoint? Are we expecting this thing to handle all the use cases? And their responses was, well, I don't know. What are the use cases? I'm like, I don't know. I'm the developer. I'm like, you tell me what the use cases are. How is this going to get used? And as we started talking through it, they started identifying more and more use cases. I'm like, we have to document all the use cases. And their response was like, okay, who's going to do that? I'm like, you. And I could just, I knew if we were in a physical office together, I would like be dodging staplers and stuff at that point. And I told him, I'm like, you've got, first thing, and like I said, this is an ongoing education process. We do a lot of scoping with this client, and their classic is, hey, we want to integrate. Hold on, excuse me. Podcasting here. Don't you see the on-air sign? Go lay down. I guess I'm waving around too much, and the office manager is getting mad at me. The classic example they've done to us in the past is, hey, there's a service, a client wants to integrate with it. How long would it take to do that? Do you have any API documentation? I mean, what to do what? I don't know what we're integrating, how we're integrating, where. So yeah, it's a process. And
come on, it's an endpoint. You hit it and you're done. How long could that possibly
take?
That's
pretty much it. Just send all the information. Just full send at this point. So it's fun. And yeah, we've been trying to get better because for a long time, because we're in the position, we want to make sure our client's happy. And if our client's happy, we worry about them making their clients happy, and everybody's making money and everything's growing. And we've been guilty in the past of just trying to do the work for them and trying to like figure out what they want and trying to implement what we think they're talking about, and it's just never worked out. And
can't say it never, not that it's never worked out, but I agree where you make assumptions and you're trying to take some of the burden off of them and just get it done. And then when you miss the mark, you're like, I would have just pushed on them a little bit more and like burden them a little bit. It would have saved us time.
Yeah. And it's a new process for the other end of this service as well. So the service is not our client's client, our client's customer. The service is something that customer wants to use. So this is a new process for them. I'm like, and I try to explain, I'm like, listen, the same way we're flushing it out, we're going to have the same conversations with them, because they're not sure what they need probably yet until we start talking through the use cases. So we'll see how it goes. It's going well, but it's just been one of those days. I was just telling you on Slack earlier, either a phone was buzzing or somebody was knocking on the front door or somebody was calling me or messages were pinging all over the place. Slack was ringing. Oh man. How about you?
I need a break.
Yeah.
Let's see. I've been fighting Firebase all week. So we use Firebase kind of inappropriately. Like when I first implemented it.
Excuse me? You're not supposed to touch it that way, John.
No. So when I first used it, I mean, we're going back 7-8 years ago, at least, if not more. And I used it because I wanted to get a notification inbox into the application. I wanted to be able to, from anywhere in the application, just send out a hey, this has been saved, or this has been accomplished, or something else happened, and then have the front end get that notification and just display it. And then users have the option to, delete that notification, or it just kind of hangs out in their notification drawer. So you click the bell, you can see them, you can go to your next 5, whatever. I didn't know what I was doing. I've learned so much since then, right? Firebase is better. It's really meant for mobile applications more than anything, but I wanted a pub sub service, and really I should have made the application, like our local database, the source of truth. I made Firebase the source of truth and left it up to the users to delete information.
Which, always works out that.
Yeah.
Well.
Lo and behold, the bill has increased dramatically. Like all of last year, or last few months of last year, it hovered around $2,000 a month. Increased in January to like 3, and then all of a sudden in February up to 5. I was like, what is happening? Why are like, and there's nothing like, they don't give you a way to say, here's what is being accessed. Here's what's being downloaded over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So the database itself, Firebase itself, had 17 gigs of data in it.
Mm.
And I'm like, what? Like trying to decipher and trying to make sense of things. I was able to go through and delete a ton of data, got it down to 5 gigs, but it didn't change the bandwidth. So the storage cost was low, less than $100 of that. And trying to continue to clean the data. So like I said, I got it down to 5 gigs, but the amount of data being downloaded was still like 300 megabytes a day or gigabytes a day. And I'm like, it just doesn't make sense. How are we downloading 300, but the entire database is only 5 gigs? It just doesn't make sense. Somebody is downloading the whole thing, and that's not the case. So between that, trying every which way to figure out what is being downloaded, trying to understand Firebase functions. So you can use JavaScript, and they also allow Python now. You can install these functions that operate on the data and can automatically clean it up. I spent hours on that last night, and it was kicking my ass. It was so bad. Just wasn't working for me.
Mm. So,
Finally.
did you ever figure it out? Okay.
Finally. Well, I don't know if we don't know if it's a silver bullet yet, but I finally figured out how to get the function to work so that it would clean up the data automatically, keep the last 10 entries of whatever it is, learn that there was data being put in there that nobody told me, hey, this has never been cleaned out. So I was like, well, that sucks.
Mm.
Things I thought were being automatically cleaned up were not. So hopefully we'll find out tomorrow. Like, give it some time, check the usage again here in a little bit and see, yep, we fixed it, or nope, there's still an issue.
Cool. All right. I'm going to go to a sponsor ad, but before I do that, I have a philosophical question, and I don't know if I'm using that word correctly. I have a philosophical question for you and anybody who happens to be watching us live in Discord. And when we come back from break, we can all kind of share our answers to see how this goes. If you, John, if somebody offered to pay you $1,000 an hour to code PHP, would you take that offer?
Are you asking me now? Or are you saying we'll come back and talk about it?
No, I'm asking now because I'm gonna add some caveats to it. See what our breakpoint is.
I guess it's gonna depend on what it's being used for.
It's not a trick question. It's for a kiddie daycare. I don't care. Somebody's gonna pay you
$1,000 an hour?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So $1,000 an hour, you're going to get paid to code this kitty cat daycare. However, the caveat is, right, that you have to install software on your machine that monitors your coding. And whenever you're not actually coding, it doesn't count towards your $1,000 an hour for coding. So you're still responsible for all the things involved with coding, your research, your interacting with other developers, your scoping. Like I just spent 2 hours on a 2-hour call scoping. None of that stuff will be billable hours. Your only billable hour is the actual code you produce. And you have to be coding. And when we come back from our sponsor, we'll see if your answer has changed.
Thanks to our friends at honeybadger.io for sponsoring this podcast. Monitoring, like web development, can be complicated. There are tons of tools and techniques, but you just want to know that your app is up and that your customers are happy. When your customers encounter a problem, you need clear, actionable intelligence, not walls of charts and reams of logs to tail. That's why they built Honeybadger, the monitoring tool we always wanted. A tool that's there when you need it and gets out of your way when you don't, so that you can keep shipping code, know when critical errors occur, and which customers are affected. Respond instantly when your systems go down. Improve the health of your systems over time and fix problems before your customers can report them. Honeybadger is the application health monitoring tool built for you, the developer who cares about a quality product and happy customers. Be the hero of your team and sign up for a free trial and start monitoring today at honeybadger.io. Setup takes as little as 5 minutes. See what you've been missing and fix it. Once again, that's www.honeybadger.io. Thank you, Honeybadger.
Eric Mann in our Discord, participating in the show like a good PHP Uggo, actually had a good question, and I will give this to you, Mr. Mann. Yes, the machine would be provided to you, and it would be the top end machine of whatever machine you want. So before I read for our audio listeners, before I read all of Eric's responses, what does this do for your response, John?
I'm trying to think, does the time I spend doing research planning, what percentage of time is that? Like if it's 50-50, I'm still making $500 an hour. Am I spending more time doing research than I am coding? That's a good question. There is a lot of time on that, no doubt, especially if you're doing it right.
And the reason why I came up with this question is because I love coding, and I just don't feel like I get to do it enough in my current role. And I thought to myself, if I paid myself $100, I'm cheap. I was just going to give myself $100 an hour. If I paid myself $100 an hour, I don't think I could make a living coding, through that scenario. Like if I paid myself $100 an hour for only coding, I don't think I would be able to eat because I just don't get to do it. Now, I will say that if somebody offered me $1,000 an hour for the time I spend coding, there'd be a lot more tests in my code base. I'm testing every letter in my code base 14 different ways. So for our audio listeners, Eric Mann in our Discord asked the great question of whether it's their machine or a machine provided to them. I said, they'd be provided to them. And their response is, I would consent to not being paid for scoping and planning. Would I consent to not being? No, but I would agree to a lower rate for the time. You don't get to negotiate, my friend. You don't get to negotiate.
This is my made-up scenario, damn it.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, no. That's not how it works. And A Woods has suggested our first title.
Yeah, so I mean, at $1,000 an hour, you start figuring out what percentage of the time you're doing other things, and does it still equate out to as much or more than you're making per hour now?
Right, and I guess to be fair, like I like to think the people we pay to develop, the other team members of PHP Architect, are doing a lot more hands-on coding on a daily basis. So I guess I should have said, based on how you handle your workload today. If
there's so much planning for tech, planning for the business, the emails. I mean, there's so much non-coding time as it is. I'm already stressed out trying to get things done on top of coding, and so no, that won't work.
This is the thing I love about developers. They try to figure out how to hack the system. No, Caesar. Somebody else cannot do the planning. You have to do it all. You have to participate in all the meetings. Not only do you have to participate in all the meetings, you
Oh,
don't have
definitely
control over
not.
the
You just said
meetings.
meetings.
Yeah, you don't have control over the meetings. But while I do the coding, you can code while you're in the meeting. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's not a real scenario, so I'm gonna say no.
Nobody's really offering you this.
Yeah, we need a PHP Architect commercial. We keep saying PHP Architect's one of the sponsors, and we are. I feel we can legitimately say that. That's why we're recording at 3:00 on a Thursday now. One of the reasons. We need a commercial. But you talked about tech. Anything exciting happening at tech?
We unfortunately had one of our friends and speakers have to back out for personal reasons. And
The word friend a lot looser now. I'm just saying. Backing out on me.
it happens. Yeah. We had somebody scheduled to step in, and we want you to help plan PHP Tech. This was a thought I had like 5 minutes before the show, so let's see how it works out. I'm going to you throw that up there. Where did my yeah, it was over here.
I have not seen this yet. I have not participated in any of this at all.
So that's the wrong one. I wanted over here.
This is going splendidly, by the way.
It is.
The
Where did it
fact that
go?
we have a little counter that counts down, just making it worse.
Where did my lower third go that I created? I don't know. Maybe I decided just to go with this one.
Captions, right?
Maybe I just want. I must have wanted to go with this one. There is a QR code in the top left. Help plan PHP Tech. Basically, there's 4 talks there. We have to choose 2 of them. Which, if you're going just off of those titles, what would you want it to be?
And not knowing who the presenter is, or do they know who the presenter is?
Nope.
Presenters? Nope.
They do not.
Perfect. Yeah.
Nope.
I like this. John and I have our opinion, and we've realized we are wrong more than right. So figured we would send this out to the hive.
Yes. So we'll let that go for a little bit. I'm just curious.
But along those same lines, we'll keep the QR code up there. But there is now a form for the Snake competition that will be held at Tech.
Battle Snake.
Yeah, Battle Snake. So if you're interested in participating, did you see how quick that link just popped up? I have a new bot running. I made some adjustments to my bot and things are popping up really quick.
Nice.
If you're interested in participating and you're going to be at PHP Tech and you want to be part of the Battle Snake competition, head on over and sign up today.
Yeah. So last year we did this, and we tried to do it real time. Tim Lytle runs it, and we try to have people code the snake while at the conference, and it got a little chaotic because one, you had to learn the API, you had to learn what it was, and you didn't really have a whole lot of time. So doing a little bit differently this year. If you want to start coding your snake now, if you want to win, we're requiring it to be written in PHP. I mean, it's a PHP conference for crying out loud. Can virtual attendees participate in Battle Snake? I have not thought about that. I don't see why not.
I mean, is there any time limitation on it? Are we? Well, it works by.
We will ask
how does it work again?
We will ask I will in a second. We will ask the person running it, Tim, if he is going to allow virtual. I don't see why not though. So Battle Snake, if you haven't done it before, it's a lot of fun. You are basically just writing an API. When the game starts, we have to know how to hit your API. So whether you're running ngrok or you're putting the code out on a server somewhere, as long as Battlesnake can hit your API, it initializes the game and says, here's the board. The board is X by Y or whatever. Here's where the snakes currently are. And then if you've ever played Snake in the past, you're a snake running around the board, and there's usually an apple that you're trying to eat along the way. In Battlesnake, there are multiple snakes running around the board. If you eat an apple, you grow, and you're trying to avoid other snakes and yourself. Each kind of frame of the game is an API hit to your, or a request to your API to say, here's the current state of the board. Everything is, the board is this big. Here's where all the snakes are at. Do you want to move up, down, left, or right? Simple as that. Everybody's response comes in. The server asks you again, okay, now here's the state of the board. What do you want to do? And it's really that simple. It's, you're coming up with the algorithm. What is your goal? Do you want to be a super long snake? So you're going to try and eat all the apples? Are you trying to stay small and just kind of run around and avoid everything? I think there's a health component to it as well. So at some point you have to eat an apple, otherwise you run out of health and you die anyway.
Sounds fun. So there's no there's no curveballs being thrown, right? Like somebody doesn't pop in and say, okay, now everybody's snakes are cut in half.
Nope.
Okay.
No. It really is just here's the state of the board. Here's where everything's at. Based on your algorithm, you're not playing it real time, right? It's based on your algorithm. What are you going to do based on all the information you have?
Gotcha. All right.
Eric says battle elephant. I do believe, and it's been over a year since I've looked at it, or right around there, you can set your icon as well, like what the head of your snake looks like. So you might be able to make it an elephant. Now I got to go look at that. Not sure.
Last week, did we do our giveaway last week? Is that when we did it?
Yeah, we did it last week.
So one of our live listeners received a free ticket to Tech. We have another ticket to give away. We need to figure out how we're going to do that. But through the course of that conversation, they had mentioned some large language model software that they were using. It's basically a local chat GBT that they're using called Ollama. I don't know how you pronounce it. Ollama. How would you pronounce that?
I have no clue. I'm not even gonna try.
So me and my curiosity, I went and looked at it. I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. And it just so happened around that same time, a friend of mine reached out to me. If you've been in the Laravel community, you probably know the name TJ Miller. He took a break from development to star in a couple of Deadpool movies. That's not true. That's a different TJ Miller. But TJ reached out to me, and I guess AI is what he's been focused on for a while now. He's like done this really deep dive into AI. So it's been a enjoyable week from my perspective, because he was introduced me to a bunch of new stuff, a bunch of new tools, and when we continue to do it. But more importantly, I got to take a little peek at a couple of projects that he's working on, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool, man. I don't have permission to share. I didn't sign a non-disclosure agreement, but it's more physical bodily damage agreement that I would receive. TJ's a tough guy, but yeah, they're doing some really cool stuff. They think they're going to have something released next week. I'm going to give them a week. They thought they would have it released today, but that didn't happen. So it never does, right? It always ends up
Mhm.
taking a little bit more time. But yeah, if you know who TJ is, or if you're into AI, give TJ a follow on his socials. I'm sure he will share all the good details when he's ready to share them. And the cool thing about it is he's one of us. He's a PHP developer, a Laravel developer. So he, because that's always been my thing, is like I feel like there's this gap of, there's this disconnect between our world and the AI world, and I think TJ's doing a lot to start to bridge that gap, which is exciting. So yeah, that's that. Did I lose you? Uh-oh. I think I lost John. I'm not nervous. I'm not worried. He's probably been gone for a while, but I ramble so much that I didn't even realize it. Are you back?
It was just Restream. Like Restream was responding for me, but you were frozen. I'm like, all right, if you can hear me in Discord, let me know. No response. So I went over to YouTube and I see that I'm frozen and you were still talking. I'm very confused. Very, very confused.
Well, that's how. So yeah, that's that. One other kind of thing I want to get off my plate, because I know you have some things to talk about, John, and I am excited about those. Let me share this one. The current release manager of PHP 8.3, Eric Mann, is currently in our Discord and shared with us a link that the process to finding the release manager for 8.4 has begun. Maybe I can't speak to it because I've never been a release manager, but I'm sure if anybody's interested, they can reach out to Eric Mann and ask, because Eric Mann didn't do, or I could be wrong, maybe he'll correct me. He's never done any internals development. He's just been on kind of us in the trenches working. So not that they're not in the trenches working, but you know what I mean. They're doing the actual coding. Mm-hmm. So the point being, Eric Mann this is how he's able to contribute to internals by managing the releases of 8.3 in his case. If this is something you've ever been interested in doing, I had a slight interest at one point, but I'm not anymore. I don't care. I don't care anymore about that. I'm just saying,
Eric Mann, since you're listening, is it something you would recommend that you have C experience for in order to apply for it, or just apply and see what happens? Like something that we can just pick up and try.
See what you did there too.
Yeah.
All right. I would. So Eric's reply is, I would recommend C experience. You need to be able to build, test, and debug PHP source. I mean, I feel like if you can follow instructions, you could do that. But you do you, Mr. Mann. You do you.
Yeah.
Right.
So you've talked about PHP Tech and being in Discord. There's a lot of stuff going on, like people chatting, and it's been a lot of fun. There's also the stress behind it of planning it. We have ordered some of the sponsor game that we do. That's in the works. We've been planning the decorations or the decor of the events. So lots going on behind the scenes. So, and it's only 40 some days away.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah, the next month for me is just dizzying. I'll be at Scale next week here in Southern California, in Pasadena. If you happen to be around, it's a fairly easy conference to go to. Huge conference. They they remind me that every time I mention I run a conference, they're like, "Yeah, does yours have 3,000 attendees?" No, okay, don't worry about that. Then I think they have more. They have more speakers than we have attendees. I feel like I would need to do the count, but I've been doing the social media posting for them, and I told him, I'm like, listen, guys, like we're running out of room. If I were to try to get all the speakers posted before scale, we'd be posting like every half hour, and people would just stop paying attention to the Twitter handle. So yeah, it's a very, very big expo is what they call it, Southern California Linux Expo. But I've been going for a while, and one of my little humble brags is I started their YouTube channel. If you go to their YouTube channel, I'm the first video because I'd gone to the organizer back then. I'm like, I'm interested in helping you with scale, but here's my idea. I'd like to do a video interview with your speakers, and we could post them online. And that was before they even had a YouTube channel. We did it. We hosted it like locally and whatever. But at some point, they decided to have a YouTube channel, and I guess they grabbed one of those videos as like their first upload to see how well it went. And so yeah, you can see a very much younger Shokum, not beat down.
So considering that's exactly what happened with PHP Architect and how we now own that, when are we going to own Scale?
Oh man, I can't even imagine the sort of planning that goes into Scale. I can't. I've been a part of one very small vertical within Scale, which is I'm part of the PR team. So we get online and we talk about other ways to promote it. That's my only part. And on my meetings, which we have every couple of weeks, on my meetings, there's anywhere between a half a dozen to more people on those meetings. And I'm like, this is crazy. It's all volunteer based. That's the great thing about it. It's open source, right? So the open source world is used to that. It's all volunteer based. And if you think about it, a lot of us make our living off open source PHP.
That we do. In our Discord, somebody shared an interesting package called Verbs. Did you look at it at all?
Verbs everywhere. Verbs. No.
Please note, Verbs is still in alpha. Do not use it in production. I started looking at it, and what intrigued me was somebody said it was event sourcing. Verbs is an event sourcing package for PHP artisans, so it's geared towards Laravel. It aims to take all the good things about event sourcing and removes as much of the boilerplate and jargon as possible.
Can we pause for a moment? I do love good documentation. I love documentation. I love the fact that they have "do not read this."
Yep. It's most people don't do it. You do, so here you go. Good job.
That's the first time I clicked on there. I wasn't sure what to expect. I'm pleasantly surprised.
So here's my take. It's not event sourcing.
No?
Not from what I've read. I haven't done a deep dive. I haven't tried it. It is events around your models. So it takes some of the concepts of event sourcing as far as, ways to guard, like you can't go from one state to another unless you're in a specific, unless you have specific data.
Mm.
But it's not event sourcing in the sense that your events are stored separate and you rebuild your model from the events. Unless I'm missing something, it really is it's just a way to update your models.
Yeah, I was about to say, Laravel does have a concept of events. I'm like, are we sure? Is this like a chess cheese situation where you think it was event sourcing and it wasn't? No, you're right. It does. It 100% says event sourcing package. Right. I am Yeah, I'm okay not having the concept of being able to rebuild your database from an event stream. That is one of the benefits of event sourcing. It's not the only benefit. And the situation I'm in, and I think we've shared this in the past, you're in as well, John, is the applications we are using that does implement event sourcing are within the same database that it's event sourcing. So if something happens to that database, it needs to do a restore anyways. So I'm fine with that. What I'm not particularly fine with, and I haven't read the package, so maybe it does do this, and I would be willing to lean more towards it to saying, yeah, I do call this event sourcing, is if it does have some sort of stream concept of a streams table or a separate streams database where it is capturing everything that's happening to an event. So it's not only
that's what's missing. Or that's
it
not
is.
that's what I'm not seeing is there isn't a stream. There's no way to say what was the state of my model prior to this.
Right. Or
Again.
or how did I get to how did this value get in my database? Like
Right.
what changed for it to get in this database?
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Now I'm going to have to take a closer look at it.
Yeah. So I mean, the whole thing is some event happens, you fire the event, and then you have a handler that handles the event and changes the state as long as it's allowed to.
Yeah, that's just
Although
the
it does, I did happen to just see unless replaying. So if it's replaying, then don't send a welcome email.
I mean, they have this banking. So they have some examples. They have a banking example, account open, money deposited. Money. So banking is a perfect metaphor to use with event sourcing, because you as an individual, if you think about how a bank handles your money, you log in and you see you have $5 in your account. You need to know, how did I get here? Like, how do I only have $5 when I deposited 20 yesterday? And that's where event sourcing comes into play. It just allows it to kind of accountability for the state of data is what I like to call it, right? It allows you to explain how data got to a certain state in your database. And we're not talking about like a state machine. It's why is this person's name changed? How did it get to that state?
I need to go look at the actual code now, because the more I'm reading about it, it may actually abstract all of the event sourcing bits away.
I mean, this is some pretty minimal code. That I tell you what, if we do figure out that we would consider this as event sourcing, this is some great work, because they have abstracted away a lot of heavy lifting here.
Yeah, I guess the way to find out is now going to be to install it and see what tables it creates, or go look at the source, because that would make sense.
That might be helpful. And to John's defense and to my defense, my defense is I wanted to be surprised when I looked at this live on the stream. But to John's defense, they're very clear. This is not ready for use yet. This is alpha. It's not even beta yet. They're very early stages of developing this. So if this is something that interests you, it looks like you could maybe pop onto this project and be a part of it. I want to make sure I'm following both of these individuals on here. Chris, what was it? Daniel Colburn, I'm following, and Chris, what was Chris's name? Morel.
Yeah. So it does have an events table and a snapshots table. So I am now intrigued. The other thing that came out of this as I was reading is they are using a package called glhd/bits. They kept talking about these snowflakes. Excuse me. You can use snowflakes as your ID. I'm like, what in the world is a snowflake?
Yeah.
So now then I start going down the rabbit hole of this bits, and it's basically a 64-bit ID with your timestamp. So it's still incrementing based on time, but is unique and can be turned into a UUID.
Isn't there already a UUID protocol that changes based on time, so that basically your UUIDs increment up?
Yeah, I can't remember if that's UUID v4.
I think it's 4. Yeah.
If only there was somebody in Discord that knew anything about a UUID package that could help.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the versions is time based and basically incrementing. So I don't know if they're just recreating the wheel, or if there really is some sort of benefit to using these snowflakes or Sony flakes. If you scroll to the bottom, it shows you the layout of the two pieces, or the two types of IDs. The first one being the snowflake is based on a timestamp, and then they have this concept of a data center and a worker. So you can have 32 data centers, and then within each data center, you can have 32 workers. So in theory, you can have what was it? Oh, whatever 32 times 32 is. 1,024 separate workers generating snowflakes for the exact same moment in time. Not exactly sure where the sequence comes in. They didn't really talk about that. And then they do another funny thing in here. You know how we know epoch as the time since 1970, right?
Right.
January 1st, 1970. Yeah. They're like, yeah, that's limited in the sense that most people are creating IDs for the future, not for the past. So they're like, we're starting our epoch at January 1st, 2023.
Well, that's a brave step.
Well, you can overwrite it. So they're like, if you need to time travel and do stuff in the past, you can change the epoch to be something else, but we are making the decision that it starts January 1st, 2023.
Isn't epoch actually running out in the next few years?
I think 2031, isn't it?
Is that what it is? I'm trying to find it real fast. Yeah, I don't know. I can't find it. I know our Discord knows. Anybody know when epoch runs out? I know it's my lifetime for sure.
Oh yeah, it's within the next few years.
Yeah. Oh, nope. Yeah, I don't know. 2088 was in Discord claims it's 2088.
No, 2038.
2038.
Yeah.
All right. There we go. Cool.
So you got 14 years to fix your code, because it's going to be another Y2K thing.
Yeah. Probably worse, actually. This is appealing. Like now, you sent me on an emotional roller coaster here, John. I was excited, then I was disappointed, and now I'm excited again.
Oh, I was reading through a lot of the docs, and it wasn't until I saw that unless replaying that I was like, wait a second, is there more going on here than I actually thought? Just because everything seems to be, I'm updating my model. If these things pass, I'm updating, which you could do in your models today.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, now I'm a little more intrigued.
Cool. All right. Wow. Where are we at? Already 55 minutes in. That was a quick one. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our wonderful supporters on Patreon. We do have a new Patreon supporter. Thank you, Joe F, for joining. I got tired of trying to do like the month, so I figured we're all marching. We're a bunch of elephants marching towards tech. I'm just going to do a bunch of marching elephants.
That works.
It works. So, check, man. What do you think? We're going to be able to pull this off?
I don't think we have a choice, do we? Are we allowed not to?
I mean, I'm pretty sure we could just, get in the fetal position under our beds for about a week or two. Maybe I don't think anybody would miss us.
Nah. I mean, we did ask our speakers who they like better, you or me, and they're like, I don't know who these people are. So yeah, nobody knows us.
John likes to toy with my emotions, so that was a real question on the speaker survey. I don't. He's self-indulged. I don't even know why he put it on there, but he put it on there.
Because that's what question we need to ask, and you said it.
And he messaged me. He goes, "Wow, I'm getting blown out of the water. Everybody likes you." I'm like, that doesn't sound right. And I got excited for a moment, and then I went and looked, and no. John's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I misread that." I'm like, "You're an asshole."
I still think we misread it.
I'm used to
That's
being
my
the
story, and
bad
I'm
guy.
sticking to it.
Yeah. Oh, I watched the Blueberry movie. Have you seen this yet?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
I don't. Maybe it's just a Hulu a Hulu production. I forget. All these streaming services now have these productions that are just for their platform, which is great, but it's annoying. It might have just been for the Hulu platform, but there's this movie out about the rise and fall of the BlackBerry, and which is predated the iPhone. It was the phone that everybody wanted. I remember it was a big deal in the enterprise. Everybody would get excited about the next BlackBerry. What did I say? Blueberry? What
You
is it?
said
Was it
you said blueberry. That's why I was very confused.
Yeah, it's BlackBerry. Sorry, everybody was very excited about the next BlackBerry that was going to be released, and it was a big deal because it allowed you to have access to your corporate email and all this other stuff. And then of course iPhone comes and blows it out of the water. But this is that history, and I thought it was really funny. First thing, I didn't realize all the turmoil that was within that organization. I had a sense of one of the people was kind of a dick, and I kind of had gotten that from hearing from other people, but I didn't realize how much and the turmoil. But the funny thing that made me chuckle is this outside. It's these two guys are building this company. They have the it's not Risk. I forget what they called it, but they're building that company up, and this outside person comes in and says, "Hey, I want to be part of your company. I'm going to give you some money, but I have to be CEO." And the other guy's like, "I'm CEO." He goes, that's a deal breaker for me." He goes, "Can we be co-CEOs?" I'm like, "What?" And so you'd see them pull into their parking lots, and they each have like co-CEO on it. And I'm like, so I thought that was very funny because we just went through a very similar conversation on our end.
Yeah. I think we shared that on Why Are You Big, mister?
I thought you did that. I don't know.
Nope, I did not do that.
Yeah, I thought you had done that. I looked up and it was like that.
Nope. Yeah, I think we had talked about it on the show.
Yeah, we
shows
totally
back.
did. Yeah. Yep, it was a good one.
Results are in. I guess
Do you have results?
I mean, of the poll. I don't know if it's not finalized, but close
Okay.
enough. People agree with the one that we definitely wanted: the write less JavaScript in HTMX and Alpine JS.
Okay.
With HTMX and Alpine JS. So I think that one was pretty much a shoe-in.
Mm-hmm.
What we do for the other one, I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, you had to pick two. Could you pick two? Were you able to pick
I only had you pick one. The other one that
okay.
the other one that people voted on were not the same one you and I were talking about doing.
Gotcha. Well, we can review it. Yes, A-Woods. They actually mentioned that nickname, Crackberry, in the movie itself, which was very funny. Because I do remember, I remember being called a Crackberry.
Mm-hmm.
I got another question for the listeners. And feel free, if you're an audio listener, to uh, message me, either public. I don't have no problem with people messaging me on a public platform, but you can DM me as well. How do you feel? I've been giving a lot of thought to the PHP Architect Twitter handle. First thing, I want to mention, we talked about this a few times. I'm going to continue talking about it up until and probably past PHP Tech. Corey has been helping us with our social media this year, and it has been a game changer for me. Like, they are
Mm-hmm.
so much better at it than I am, and been doing a great job. And I thought, these seem like much more engaging tweets. One of the problems I've always had with the PHP Architect handle is that it's a lot of content, a lot of look at this book, look at these articles, look at this book, look at these articles, and I get why. And there's a lot of that within the vaults of PHP Arc. So there's a lot to remind people, hey, go buy Eric Mann's book. But I don't know. I feel like I would like to see like more kind of PHP conversation sort of posts. Like, give me the sense that there's somebody behind the handle. And I'm concerned that the PHP Architect handle specifically is using that where people are getting blindness to the post, which is not a good thing. Obviously, we want people to know about them, but I also want them to know that it's a handle that they can engage with. If somebody mentions us, I try to do my best to make sure I reply, just so they understand. Yeah, we are seeing mentions. Like, it feeds into our entire system. So we see mentions a couple different ways. I don't know what the solution is. I've even considered, I've pulled back significantly on my social media posting. It's not by design. I'm not protesting anything or not wanting to do it. It just, I haven't had time. I don't leave the house. All I'm working on is PHP Tech, basically, and that. So there's just not a lot to share. I don't have a lot to share. But I keep thinking, like, I wonder if I should just like put aside my personal handle for a while and just use the PHP Architect handle. And when I want to tweet something, just tweet it out of there, especially if it's PHP related. But like, I would like to get it to the point where if something was tweeted from there that wasn't 100% PHP related, it didn't seem out of place. It didn't seem weird. And I know a lot of it's me. I don't like companies, and I don't think companies should be on social media because it's irritating. But that's how companies work on social media.
Yeah, I hear you. You want to know that there's a person behind there, I think, and the
Yeah.
automated nature of the handle as we took it over. While I understand it, it is hard as far as taking it over as your handle, like you being the voice behind it is, it's completely fine because you're not going to put out there what you're having for dinner or like stuff like that, right? It's more going to be development PHP stuff, which makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, if anybody's out there that has seen a good example of a different approach to how a company handles its company social media handles, feel free to send it my way. I would love to look into that. Because again, it's I just don't feel like I don't feel like the PHP Architect handles are contributing to the community like it should, and I like to see that change. And I don't know what that looks like yet, and I probably won't figure it out until after Tech. But These are the sort of conversations we have behind the scenes, and just let everybody know that we do care. Buttery, good morning. But if companies are not on social media, how am I going to see their early version of 6-month-old meme? Yeah, I get it. All right, where are we at, John?
We're at our computers talking to our friends.
That's really what it comes down to, isn't it? I think we're at a good point to wrap it up. Obviously, if you're on the live stream, we got a good number of people watching us live right now. If you're on the live stream, you're more than welcome to hang out. We do an after party, not party, just we continue to ramble for a little bit longer. And if you're on the audio podcast, this is where we say adieu. And until next week, I'm Eric.
And I'm John. Whoops.
Yep.
We're on it.
They got it.
All right.
I'm Eric.
And I'm John. Keep it ugly.
Keep it ugly.
1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know, Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John. You know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up. Yeah. Come on. Hey.
Look, it did it again.
What's that?
You're small again. You're small again.
I'm small again.
Yeah, when I came out of the video. See? Look at that.
Weird.
Yeah, that's never happened before. Oh, happy to have you back, Buttery. Happy to have you back. Small John. My Big Johnson and Small John.
Somebody asking me something about our Docker environment. Hold on.
Oh my God, we didn't even get into Docker on Mac. That situation's not getting better for me.
No.
I think I've decided I've been kind of holding off for the Pop! OS desktop, the new Pop! OS desktop to come out. But I think I'm beyond that now. TJ's got me so excited about this AI stuff. I think I'm just going to rebuild it from scratch as is now. And
Really?
Yeah, and do a clean install.
I want to see
I
what he's got going on.
I think I'm okay losing because I actually had it off. I had my Pop! OS machine off for a week and a half, and I didn't need it until recently. I had to log into it, so I think I'm fine moving on from the Pop! OS machine. I'm not moving on. I'm not abandoning the Pop! OS. I mean, I'm done with that image. I'm going to blow it away and do a fresh install. Whether or not I use it as my daily driver, I don't know. I kind of want to, but at the same time, I like having the laptop. And also, I really want to hammer this machine now with some stuff that I wouldn't want running on my desktop. So I think that's going to be its role for a little while until I figure out what I'm doing next. I'm going to be down your way on Monday. FYI. I have to take the current wife's vehicle in for some. There's a factory recall that needs to be performed on it and needs oil change and needs to be spogged and all that other stuff. So taking it to the dealership for all that stuff. All right.
I'm trying to explain to somebody that they're trying to connect to a MySQL Docker container as the root user. The database doesn't allow connections to anything other than localhost. And he's like, well, I'm connecting to localhost. I'm like, yeah, but you're connecting to localhost on your host, which goes through Docker. So you're no longer localhost once you're in the Docker environment in that case. He's like, but Table Plus says localhost.
Well, is he doing it through a port forward? Is he connecting to a bound port?
Yeah.
So he is still localhost then.
No. Well, your client says localhost, but when you're going through that port, you're not hitting localhost once you're on the machine. It sees you as your host.
Are you sure about that? Because the bind that you make in Docker, you just say, okay, bind this 3306 port with an external 5844 port.
I'm telling you, I'm on my host connecting to MySQL through Docker, and it's saying access denied for root at 172.20.0.1. So it sees once you go through that port, you are coming from somewhere else. You are coming from the host, not localhost. So yes, it is a port forward, but you're still not there on the host.
But you just said it denied access to root at localhost.
172 is not 127.
Oh, you said 172. Oh,
172.20.0.1.
Okay. All right.
So
the container sees the host IP, not its own IP, when you try to connect from the host OS. Thanks.
Right. So you can jump into the container, connect via MySQL.
Eric, man, did you like the fact that I said we could use the word friend with you loosely now? For anybody who was wondering. Not like they couldn't figure it out. I'm joking. KE fans, A Woods, that was my jam. I never understood GNOME back in the day. I'm like, why would anybody not use KDE? This is stupid. I'll try to run GNOME. I'm like, this is such a dumb desktop. And then I matured. And I love it. I will say, the difference between GNOME and the Mac OS is getting ever and ever slimmer. But moving between one and the other is pretty damn simple.
So I got confirmation from the Battle Snake Czar that virtual attendees can participate unless their name starts with an E and ends with an N.
I like that. I like what they're doing there.
Yeah, Eric, that's what I told the person was connect in. I actually had him just go in through Bash and then connect to MySQL, but it all works.
Yeah. Jeffrey, welcome. Good to see you. Good to see you. Did you see the numbers today? I mean, we only have a couple on Twitch, which is not unusual. Majority of the people are on YouTube, but
Mhm.
Twitter is like picking up steam. Like it was
See
almost
that.
half and half, or not half and half. The same amount that were on YouTube was almost about the same amount that was on Twitter.
Mhm.
It's surprising. I don't think they promote that enough.
Yeah, it used to be called Periscope, right? Was Periscope just a separate service, or?
Well, I think I could be totally off on this, but I think Periscope they had purchased, and yeah, they integrated it eventually.
The person having Docker trouble has what they need. Crisis averted.
So
Yeah,
if there's an
Cal.
off chance that somebody's listening who is going to be at scale, please do not hesitate to come up to me and say hello. I'd love to meet you. I was not going to go the first day on Thursday, but I don't know. I'm kind of wavering on that a little bit. John brought up some good arguments on why I should go, so I might actually be there on Thursday. Although, actually, no, that would be a problem. That would mean we wouldn't have a show next week. I think that was one of the reasons why I didn't go, was because we were recording Thursday. I just realized that. Because I'm like, well, that'll be next week.
Well, you know you're allowed to take your computer with you.
I did, but yeah. And I have a hotel room, but I told them I didn't need it until Friday because I originally didn't plan on going until Friday. So they comped me a hotel room for the work I was doing for them.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, that's cool, but yeah. So I don't know.
That reminds me. We have another speaker that I think I'm waiting on them to let me know if they're staying an extra day.
Oh, we forgot to talk about the room block for PHP Tech. If you're listening, unbelievably, we ran out of our block. Got filled up again, which we had expanded the block this year because we didn't want that to happen, but it did. But we fixed it, so they've added more rooms to our block. So if you had problems, make sure you get associated to the room block because there's a discount and you get breakfast and all this other stuff. But make sure you get associated with the block. But if you have a problem getting a room because it says the block is full, just reach out to John and I. Don't purchase anything. You can still purchase your tickets to the conference, but just hold off on your hotel and we'll work it out with the hotel and try to get the block expanded. But it's expanded now. You're good right now.
Yep. I still have to figure out Tailwind because I added a link. So if you click on contact us, it'll send us an email.
Mm-hmm.
But the link doesn't look like a link.
What did you do? Did you build? Oh, yeah, I told you that I had all sorts of problems with the Tailwind build and production.
No, I think links you have to like put in special classes to make them look like a link.
Let me see what you're talking about. Where's it at?
On the venue page, right above the book now.
On the venue page, right above the book now. All right.
I would expect the link by default to be underlined in blue, and if you visited,
yeah, you definitely want to make that. I don't even see a contact us.
No, are you looking right above book now? If you have trouble, if you have trouble booking, blah blah blah.
If you get a message about the block being full, please contact us. Yeah. Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah, you definitely need to. You definitely need to add some styling to that.
It's HTML. You just put a link in there and it does it for you. You shouldn't have to style every freaking element on the page.
I mean, it works.
I know it
So-
works. I wrote it. Of course it works. I just didn't style it because I don't style stuff.
You have no style.
I have no style. That's one way to put it. Probably the most appropriate way to put it. So we need a activities link. I was going to work on that at some point to include like game night and Battle Snake, and then maybe some of the other stuff to do around Chicago.
The off-site activities.
Like there's a Cubs game going on, or
It reminds me, I tried buying a Cubs ticket a couple months back, and it wouldn't let me buy it yet. I need to see.
oh, how about this? We should ask if you are going to be attending Tech and you already have plans and you want to make it a group thing. Let us know. We'll put it on the site, and then maybe we find a way to, have a way to meet up and go to things together if you want to. Not that, not that we're putting it on, but like, hey, there's some people going bowling on this day and time. Meet here to go. That might be fun. You are glitchy, or am I glitchy?
It must be me. You seem fine. This is very different. So when I looked at the schedule, now that when we were planning the conference, the Cubs were in the weekend before, out for a few days, and then came back. But now this is saying they're not in the weekend before anymore, which was when I was going to go because, I'm not going to go during the conference. Barely make it up to my room half the time. Not because I'm drunk, because I'm exhausted. How did that happen? Oh, I'm so bummed right now. God damn it. Current wife's going to be mad at me. We're flying in... When are we flying to?
Friday.
The 12th?
Friday the 19th.
No, in.
Friday the 19th.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, that's right. The scale is the week of the 14th. That's the tech is the next week. Okay, all right. Yeah. So we're good. We're good. I mean, they're crappy teams, but they're good.
Eric Mann wants to know if you're throwing your hat in the ring for RM.
No. I mean, I'm not saying that like selfishly. I don't have time for anything right now. I would love to. If I had the time, I would. I do not. I'm afraid.
Let's see. Let me go update some numbers. Because we have another attendee. This is going to be one of these people's. I'll share this number with you.
But I will do everything I can to make sure we promote it.
Alrighty.
All right. Get some show notes out, all that other stuff. You guys take it easy.
Do we get titles? Do we have titles?
Oh, that's encouraging to see. Yeah, we got a few titles here. Let me pull those up.
Tackle me, Elmo. Hey, Woods. What I didn't talk about was part of my being on the phone for like 7 hours yesterday on Zoom
Mm-hmm.
was trying to debug an issue in the development environment,
Mm-hmm.
and it turned out to be like twofold because of the PHP server and the worker server not having the proper environment variables. One was writing information to a production queue, and something else is trying to read from a development queue.
Isn't that always the case?
Eric Man would love a PHP Arch hat.
We are talking about getting one with the new logo on it, so that might not be totally out of the question, but we don't have anything right now.
It's funny, your audio is mostly okay, but then your video is just like so choppy.
Sorry, I'm not doing anything interesting.
Yeah. Okay. We will call it.
What is going on? Okay, that's it. Thank you, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye.
See ya.